Are you ready?
Hold on, you're not getting on the stone.
Oh, okay. I'm getting on the stone, bro. I'm getting on the stone, bro.
Nah, man, come on.
Where'd you get your jewelry from, dog?
Before Jimmy Boy would get global attention for his work with 6ix9ine, creating his iconic rainbow grills, his jigsaw piece, his 69 spinner, and his recently revealed shark pendant, which Jimmy Boy told me set back 6ix9ine a whopping $800,000. Before Jimmy Boy would clock in 1 million followers on Instagram and his daughter Savannah would blow up as a rap star in the making. Now the apple, it doesn't fall far from the tree because Jimmy Boy was actually a big star himself as a rapper before he got into the jewelry business. Now previous to that, he was caught up in the drug trade and he spent years in and out of prison, having caught a few cases.
Just go ahead and give me a little list of the charges that you face.
Attempted murder, ended up getting dropped to deadly conduct with discharge of a firearm, engaging in organized criminal activity, possession of methylene dioxymethamphetamine, which is MDMA, which people know as ecstasy, conspiracy, possession of marijuana. Those are just some of them.
You got a rap sheet.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
He spent 2.5 years in prison and he thought that the life of a hustler was the only future that he'd ever know. But his lifelong love for flashy jewelry, it eventually opened up a new career that would keep him out of prison, able to support his loved ones, and get him hanging out with the world's biggest names in music and entertainment. What's going on, guys? Now for this video, we did something different. I actually did a full 1-hour interview with Jimmy Boy, and I posted that to a new channel titled Famous Interviews. So here's a clip.
So we were just winging it the whole time. We were just enjoying it, you know, like, you know, who gets a phone call from MTV saying, hey, we want to fly all y'all out here and pay for all your trips to be on a reality show. You know, we're going to take you to the VMAs 2006 and we'll pay for the hotel. We're going to get you on Hot 97. You know, it's like, it was crazy. So we were just winging it, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all I was really doing.
Yo.
You know? I just winged it.
That's dope. Now the whole thing, it's about an hour long and it actually got pretty emotional. Now I'm super grateful that I have a platform to be able to share these stories with you guys and for him to be so open to do that with me. Now it's a way different setup than what we have here, so if you guys want a more in-depth look, be sure to check out that interview. We'll have a link down below. But for now, let's get into this before they're famous. And this one's been a long time coming, for real. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell. Boom! Jimmy Boy was born Jimmy Fan on June 9th, 1982 in Alief, Texas. Now this is a suburb of Houston, an area known for its high crime rate and ethnically diverse population. Now his father Anthony was a member of a very famous Vietnamese band known as CBC Band. Now they overcame poverty learning to sing Western rock music for American soldiers. Now following the Vietnam War, the band members, their lives were at risk. So they fled via boat, traveling through Tibet and India before finally making it to America and settling in Houston.
With conditions the way they are, the CBC cannot nor do they want to stay here in India. There's still a band on the run, and they won't stop running until they reach the United States.
Now his parents, they met at one of his father's shows. His mother was just 18 years old at the time. Now his parents, they split up soon after, and young Jimmy, he'd be left in the care of his father and his extended family, and he grew up with first-hand experience of a life in show business.
After a couple months, my parents separated, and you know, she tried to really she was 18 when she had me, so you know, she tried to do the right thing, but you know, she also knew the right thing was to leave me with somebody more responsible to take care of me. So I think about when I was 1.5, she left me back at my dad's doorstep, and that's when, you know, my dad and my family started raising me.
Now he grew up backstage watching his family members perform, but it wasn't all fond memories. Now there was one time when he was 6 years old that his father, he was actually shot in the leg over a booking dispute.
Yeah, long story short, you know, they were like the most popping in the city. These other promoters had threw an event, and it just happened to clash on the same day as their event. And, you know, at the end of the night, you know, they have sold out, and the other event they took a major L. So I don't know if their plan was to kill my dad, but their definitely plan was to injure my dad so he couldn't play the drums anymore. But, you know, for the grace of God, you know, when they shot my dad in the leg, it didn't hit no bone. it went straight through. And you know, my dad had a show like 2 days later. He went out there like a G, wrapped up with the bandage, and played like he couldn't play no more. And even though he was bleeding, like, that's the realest thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, that boy got heart, man. That's all I gotta say about my dad.
As a kid, well, Jimmy Boy, he would get teased about his weight, and he earned a number of nicknames, including that of Fat Boy. That's with a P-H-A-T. Now, he watched the movie Scarface obsessively, and it wouldn't take long for him to put a few lessons from that film into practice. By the age of 15, he started selling drugs himself. Now, at one point, he supplied so much ecstasy to the Houston area that he became known as Pill Gates. Now, school had never clicked with Jimmy. He found himself distracted and uninterested, and the opportunities that the streets offered him, despite his parents' wishes, well, they became quickly his new career path. Now, he began stealing cars as well and selling parts, and well, he was running one of the biggest operations in town. So obviously the cops, well, they started paying attention.
I started getting to stealing cars, and I learned how to steal Toyota Camrys. I learned how to make master keys. You know, I was just doing whatever I felt was interesting to do.
Now, of course, the law, it would catch up with Jimmy. He went into great detail about all his different arrests and his time served in our full interview. But at one point, the guy was actually looking at 30 years in a state penitentiary because there was a gun found in his home that was connected to an attempted murder. Also, he got some charges for organized crime, possession of ecstasy, conspiracy, and attempt to distribute. Yeah, the list goes on and on. Now, he got out on an appeal bond, but was arrested again, and this time with the feds. Yeah, it's a pretty remarkable story. It's also interesting to point out how skinny the dude was when he got out of prison, because apparently when he was locked away, all he did was push-ups. Good for him. No one's calling it P-H-A-T anymore. Or maybe they are.
But P-H-A-T, you know, like pretty hot and tempting.
Now, for a while there, he figured that this was what his life was always going to be about. Now, his family, they had disowned him, and by now he had a daughter named Savannah, and she was born around 2006. Now, he tried to go legit and pursued a rapping career, and he found some success with tracks like My Grind and Down South Boys, which led to some massive radio play, club appearances, and he was rubbing shoulders with other A-list rappers. Now, Jimmy was telling me in our interview about the record deal offers that came to him, also award shows that he was invited to. Yeah, his star, it was shining bright. But what was even more flashy was all his jewelry. Now, some of his earlier pieces, they include this now infamous blue dolphin chain, which was essentially a pendant of the pills that he was dealing. Now, you're looking at 60 carats in blue diamonds, around 2,985 diamonds in total. Damn! That's one hell of a piece, especially for back then. His contacts, his knowledge, and his passion for jewelry, well, it started him off as a middleman for a lot of other rappers or contacts who met with him and were looking to get custom pieces made for themselves. Now, during this time, he was still relying on growing and selling drugs with various levels of success. Now, in our interview, he actually told me about a time where he nearly lost it all.
We was trapping out the crib together. You know, I was growing. I had grow houses, you know, and I had to take my daughter to these grow houses with me because I had nobody to help me.
Now, he also had Savannah working alongside him, a child in his car as he would drive around selling dope. And at one point, the two, they were living together in a trap house.
I had one spot, and so the living room is a regular living room, you know, with TV. And so I'll have my daughter, and I'll be like, okay, just sit right here, watch TV, I'll be right back, you know, and I go into the room where I gotta water my plants and everything. And she's banging on the door, like crying, like she wants to be in there with me. You know, there were times we had to sleep at this place together, you know, and, you know, we had to deal with what we had and made the best out of it.
Finally, it was Iceman Nick who envisioned a partnership between the two, which would allow Jimmy to make the bread he needed to take care of those he cared for. Iceman Nick, or Nick Gafour, well, he had made Jimmy's Blue Dolphin piece, and over the years, well, the two, they had grown close. Now, it was decided that the two, they could benefit from one another with Jimmy's knowledge and contacts utilizing Nick's manufacturing. And over the years, well, the two, they started up a joint venture known as Done Right Jewelers in 2015. Now, Jimmy has since said, if it wasn't for him, I'd be another drug dealer, maybe in jail, maybe dead. Now, Jimmy Boy's list of contacts, it is long and star-studded, just like his jewelry. And of course, him and his daughter, they're always posting Instagram pictures of them hanging out with the likes of Cardi B, Migos, and more. They're a fantastic pair, and it's a really beautiful father-daughter relationship. I see it all the time on Instagram. And for a guy who's been through so much, it's just nice to see how good of a dad he is. Also, one hell of a jeweler. That new 6'9" shark piece. My God, you know. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna wrap up this video here, but if you want a more in-depth look at his full come-up story from him, from the horse's mouth, with a grill in his mouth, well, be sure to check out our interview over at Famous Interviews. More videos coming there as well, of course. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, bye.